guys, today's video is going to be about a certain practice to use called EFT tapping to use whilst you're affirming. It's very much interconnected with manifestation because it helps release feelings of anxiety. It helps you feel more calm and aligned with your end result, which you don't have to have, but why would you want to keep going on with anxiety and constant stress when you could do something to release it? So today's video is going to be all about one practice, which is EFT tapping. I'm going to go over what it is, how you use it, my personal experience. So if you're interested in this topic, please do thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. I have tons of manifestation content every week. And yeah, I also offer one-on-one coaching if you're interested in something like that, you feel like you need extra help. All the information about what I offer, my contact details are on my Instagram below, LOA Coaching, so do take a look and let's get started. So I have a little picture here. I think I can remember every single point because I did it for a couple of months myself, but there's a lot of points. So when you're first doing it, it might take a while to remember. You might want to reference, a photo online or write it down or something. So the first points of what you want to do, I'm pretty sure you should be using 2 fingers. So if you just, tap with the palm of your hand, so like the pads of your fingers or whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. That's probably the incorrect terminology, but either way, 2 fingers, and you just tap the top of your head like this a couple of times. So let's say, actually I'll show you an example of how you use it whilst affirming a little later once I've done this. And then the second point is the eyebrow, then side of the eye, then under the eye, so just on the cheekbone, and then under the nose, so just Cupid's bow area here, chin, your collarbone, and then under the arm, so right under the armpit. And then also you've got a few points on the side of your hand. So these are all, I believe, pressure points. And sometimes you're like literally tapping on the bone, but it's all connected to special pressure points that help, your nerve cells and everything react a certain way and releasing stress. So then you've got the side of the hand here as well, kind of where the bone area is here. If you're just tapping on the bone, I believe that's the correct point. That's how I've been doing it. And yeah, those are the main points. There's about 10 points in total, quite a few to remember on the face. But once you've done it a couple of times, it's easy. So quick example of how you would do it. So I'll just use a really simple affirmation like I am perfect. So it'd be I am perfect. And actually you can use it'd be better to use both hands. So I am perfect, I am perfect, I am perfect, I am perfect, I am perfect. I am so, or rather like both hands like that. I am so perfect. I am perfect. I am completely perfect. Other arm, like that. It would look something like that, and also on the sides of the hand. Yeah, so it's pretty simple, but there's just a few pressure points to remember. You can repeat it 2 or 3 times. It doesn't have to be 1 affirmation per pressure point. That was just an example of how to do it. So it can be an instant release. It can be something where you immediately feel like this, emotional release. You just feel a lot lighter and calmer and more balanced. Or it can take, 5 to 10 times of you repeating it over and over and over to feel it. Or it can take an hour of doing it. I guess it depends on your own emotional state, you as a person, just, your resistance to it. How easily are you willing to, accept this practice? Is your mind going to be really stubborn, or are you able to connect with, that kind of, like pressure point, like touching the pressure points? How will your body react to that? It's not the exact same time frame for everyone. So don't freak out if you've done it 10 times and you're still anxious. That's totally normal. If anxiety was that easy to get rid of in a couple of minutes, no one would suffer with anxiety disorders, right? We'd all be really relaxed, and there'd be no such thing as an anxiety disorder because you could get rid of it in 3 minutes. Fortunately, that's not always the case. So don't panic if you've tried it quite a few times. You just keep going until you feel better. I'd say just keep going, keep trying, test it out for about a week. If you really don't like it and connect with it, you don't have to do it. This is just something to consider. So as I said, I'd recommend repeating it during your affirmations, during the affirming time. If you set a timer on your phone, or you just, loop your affirmations a certain way, add in the EFT tapping. Obviously not if you're sat, on the tube, on a bus, in class. Don't sit there tapping at your face weirdly and under your armpits looking like a monkey or something. Just, when you're alone at home, in your room, just in private or something, whatever, when you're in your own room relaxing in the evening, let's say, and you're doing your affirmations, Add it in, test it out. I would say it's also partly a placebo effect, the idea that you know it's a practice used to relieve anxiety. Same way a guided meditation is always going to add some relaxation to you. You know it's made for relaxation and to release, you know, worries and anxiety. So it's partly also a placebo effect. You're expecting it to work. You're like hyper aware of the outcome. You're like, oh wait, I think I'm feeling more relaxed. Oh, I think I'm not having any more negative thoughts. Like, you might start to get thoughts like that. So it can be mixed in with a bit of a placebo effect, which is totally fine. It doesn't have to be a real relief. It can be just your mind telling you that it's relieving you by placebo, if that makes sense. So my own personal experience is, I'd say on and off for a couple of months, I was testing out EFT tapping whilst affirming, mainly for like relationship affirmations, for relationships going on in my life. Obviously people, our anxiety is usually connected to people, interactions, relationships, issues. So yeah, anything to do with people that were involved in my affirmations, so family, friends, relationships, whatever, I added it in there when I knew I had resistance, negative thoughts, a bad old story that I was trying to get rid of. I would add in EFT tap. EFT tapping is what I mean. And yeah, I did notice that it helped. I wouldn't say it was like an instant, you know, completely visible change. It was more like after maybe 10, 20 times of doing it over and over and over during my affirmations, I started to notice I had, maybe also because I had shifted my focus onto the words and then onto the tapping, it had released anxiety for me. So it did work. Again, I wouldn't say it was 100% cure. It's not going to cure anxiety. That's not what it's for. It's for when you're stressing out, having a really bad moment, dealing with a lot of stress and anxiety, just add it in to calm your mind down and let go of that in the moment. So it definitely helped me with that. So I would say for most people, if you just persist, keep doing it, you know, 20, 30, 40 times over and over and over whilst doing your affirmations. Yeah, which isn't that long. I'd say 40 times, like you could do that in like 30 minutes. 30 minutes of affirming a day is really not that much at all, especially in one go. You can do it. So yeah, if you test it out for that long, I really do think you will see the results. So a couple of examples of when you could implement this. It's not essential. You don't have to use this. But if you are, and obviously I'm only talking in the context of manifestation, not general anxiety, but if you feel that you're spiraling, for whatever reason, I'll go on to specific events in a moment, but if you're spiraling, your thoughts are spiraling, you're going on a little bit of a mental breakdown at the moment, add this in. You don't even need to do your affirmations. You can just say something very simple and blanket affirmation like, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Just anything, or everything's okay, everything is okay. Like, it can be that simple. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you want to keep your thoughts positive, because if you're sat there letting your thoughts spiral and you're doing EFT tapping, of course it's not going to work, because you're focused on the negative thoughts. You're allowing them to come in. So the EFT tapping probably won't really have much effect at all. And you're only then connecting it to those negative thoughts. So it's really not a good, you know, interaction to create in your mind. But if you are spiraling in your thoughts because of your affirmation, because of your manifestation, I should say, then it's great to test out EFT tapping. If you just had a negative 3D experience to do with your manifestation, let's say you had a disagreement with a colleague, your boss gave you bad feedback, your SP posted a picture with a third party, anything like that, that could have caused you to spiral or just feel really negative, and you just had this horrible experience in your 3D reality, on the verge of spiraling, right? All of it is connected. Start affirming with your EFT tapping. Test it out. You know, no harm can come from doing that, right? I really think that would be the essential moment to start doing this. Also, this is something that, the reason that I started doing it, also I learned this from Sammy Ingram. She was the first person who introduced me to it, the first video I watched on it, the first content I engaged with that talked about this practice. And obviously it's more of like a, I don't want to say homeopathic, but like, not homeopathic, holistic approach. I guess it's almost like a, holistic healings kind of, the way acupuncture would work. I think it's very interconnected with that. So yeah, it's more of like a mental spiritual practice, if you will, the same way Ho'oponopono, saying those 4 phrases, which I think I've mentioned in previous videos, and it's essentially these 4 phrases that you repeat. It's kind of the same practice like that. It just affects your mind. So yeah, it's not like a cure, like I said, but if you are really struggling, and what I had is negative thoughts about the old story. I really found this very, very useful. And that's why I said when it's connected to people, emotions, relationships, that's where we get the most resistance and negativity, because it's literal other human beings that we care about and are invested in. So our emotional reactions are going to be the strongest in that. So that, you know, if you're having really, really negative thoughts and memories and intrusive thoughts come up about the old story, past 3D events, the way the relationship has gone in the past, then I think it would be really good to introduce EFT tapping. It will probably help release that emotional reaction you have almost automatically. So if I were to say, you know, that last fight you and your SP had, that thing your SP said that you don't like, things are probably popping up in your mind as you're watching this. And those are the things that you have the strongest negative emotional reaction to. Those are the things that are intrusive thoughts in your mind. Anytime you think of it, you feel anxious, you feel upset. Like, if you're having a really strong emotional reaction, obviously a practice that releases anxiety is going to be the best solution. So like I said, if you're spiraling, thinking negatively about the 3D, you just experienced something bad, or it's past events that keep coming up in your mind, the ego keeps reminding you, you get really anxious thinking about it, test EFT tapping whilst doing what is essentially a mental diet. If that comes up, you want to start affirming, but that's essentially the practice of a mental diet. So you're kind of saving two birds with one stone there by implementing a mental diet due to a negative memory and also looping your affirmations over and over. So add in the EFT tapping at the same time, because it will most probably, like I said, most probably help you release those negative emotions. So yeah, hopefully that was inspiring, educational, or clarified the practice if you guys have seen it. Hopefully I added on a few extra points from Sammy Ingram's video, because I know she was one of the first people to talk about this as a coach. So do watch her video as well if you're interested. But yeah, hopefully I gave you guys some personal insight here. And yeah, do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the notification bell if you enjoyed. Leave your comments below. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and I'll see you next time. Bye.